welcome. So good to have you with us. We are working on a very special topic this evening that's incredibly relevant to everyone on this call and most nonprofits. We are talking about how to make sure that you maximize your end of year. And we have a very special guest today, and I'm going to introduce her in just a moment, but most of you know me already. I'm Kirsten Stevens with the Kannico Agency. These webinars are our passion project. We do them because we feel it's information that needs to get out there. So there's really no motive behind it besides making sure we're sharing as many of the resources, tools, and information that we feel is valuable to all of you as we can. So let me jump right into introducing our special guest this evening. So this is Ann Paton. She's a seasoned fundraising and public relations professional with over 30 years of experience in the nonprofit sector. As the president of Ann Paton and Associates LLC, she has dedicated the past 12 years to helping small to medium-sized nonprofits achieve financial sustainability. Ann's career highlights include leading record-breaking fundraising campaigns at prestigious institutions like Dartmouth College, Brown University, Florida Atlantic University, and Barry University. She specializes in strategic planning, major gifts, grant writing, board development, and brings her expertise to over 20 organizations. She has been bringing her expertise to over 20 organizations since her retirement from higher education. So welcome, Annie. It is so good to have you with us. Her name is Ann, but we all call her Annie. So thank you, Annie, for being with us.
Thanks for that great introduction. I appreciate it.
I was just saying before we got started that everyone needs a mentor in this business, and you're mine. So thank you for being here.
It's one of my favorite roles. And every time that I, as a mentor, am with you, I learn something too. And I appreciate that very much.
It's peer learning. We all learn from each other. All right, so let's jump in. I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to talk about our end of year. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the actual mechanics of the tips and the facts and the things we think are important, but we're going to enhance this information with our experience, with real life scenarios, with examples that we feel are going to be really valuable to you, and hopefully spark some ideas. So if you're kind of stuck and you're thinking, oh, I'm in a bit of a panic, we're so close to end of year, I don't know if I can pull anything off, you can, there is hope. So we're going to talk about the power of matching gifts. We're going to talk about engaging your major donors effectively, last minute fundraising opportunities, and then we'll go into our Q&A. And we do have a really special bonus for the people that showed up in person today and for everyone who stays to the end. All right, let's see if I can get these to move along because now I don't want to move. Okay, let's see, there we go. All right, so this is what we'd like you to come away with. Clarity on finding matching gift prospecting or prospects and what your call to action could be with them. So how do we even come across this matching gift concept? It doesn't just appear out of nothing. We have to be working at it. We have to be receptive to it, open to it, but we also have to do a little digging and cultivation and kind of research. What are some of the tips that we can use to get our major donors to give to kind of push them over the edge before the end of the year? And then what are some possible missed opportunities? What are some things that you guys could be doing that maybe hadn't really come to mind immediately, don't seem quite as obvious? All right, so let's jump into some of these facts first. So if we think about matching gifts specifically, 84% of donors are more inclined to donate if a matching gift is available. That's a huge, huge number, huge. 1 in 3 donors will make a bigger gift if they understand that there's a match somewhere involved in the picture. And then mentioning matching gifts in your fundraising appeals can lead to a 71% increase in responses. So just people that are receptive and responding and interacting with you, and a 51% increase in the average donation amount. So those are really big numbers. Annie, do you have anything to add to this?
I learned something today. 65% of Fortune 500 companies offer matching gifts. So researching what corporate entities your donors may be connected to is really important. You need to make sure that in not just end of the year, but all year, make sure that you include a blurb about matching gifts in any of your appeals and conversations with donors.
Now, Annie, are you talking about employee matches, like
Yes.
companies that match?
Right now, I'm talking about employee matches.
Okay.
Your donors are much more likely to give, as you suggested, if there's some kind of matching gift. Not all matching gifts come from employers, but that is a primary way, and it's really easy to deliver that message. There's lots of information online about how to set that up. And so you need to make sure that everybody in your prospect base and in your donor base knows that matching gifts are a possibility for them. Millions and millions of dollars get left on the table every year because those matching gift companies have so much to offer, but no one's taking advantage of it. So
Annie, I'm so glad you brought this up. It wasn't a topic I was going to spend a lot of time on, but you're reminding me of the importance of this. In fact, it came up recently with an organization that we work with, and they said, we were approached by Benevity, and we don't know why they've approached us. They want to know all about us because they said that there's a company that offers a matching gift program through Benevity. And I said, oh my gosh, this is the best news ever. And they said, well, we just want to be cautious with sharing our information. I said, so I had to explain to them what that meant. And they said, well, does the company know? And I said, well, the company signed up to be part of this program, and Benevity is the tool for those funds to come through. And there are various companies that do this. So a while back, I spent a bit of time trying to find the list of companies. It's not that easy. So the best thing to do really is to remind donors to check with their employers to see if their employer offers matching gifts. Is that right, Annie?
Yes, that's the way to do it. And the employers are very happy to reveal that information to you. And it's really a missed opportunity if you don't suggest that to your donors and your prospects, because it's a great way to feel like you've done something very special when your gift is doubled.
And the thing is that a lot of so in most cases, those funds are deducted from employee paychecks directly. They don't even feel it's like when you have money taken out for the Christmas club or for your state right out of your paycheck, right? Like you don't even feel it. You don't even realize that the money is coming out.
Right.
So it's doubly important to take advantage of it, because I think people feel like it's a great way that they can participate on an ongoing basis without feeling the pain of writing a big fat check at the end of the year. So thank you for bringing that up, Annie. Do you have anything else on employee matches?
That's really my main point on employee matches. I think it would be fun to talk about how you can create your own match using your board members or major donors to fix that match for you.
Go for it.
The really cool thing about doing that is that those matching donors who come up with the match feel so great when you increase the amount of year-end giving that is produced because of their match. They feel like heroes, superheroes even. I have worked with organizations that have asked principal board members who have been involved for a while and are very passionate about the mission if they would create a match. And they make a special year-end gift, and it can be a partnership between 2, 3 board members, or it could be one board member who has significant resources and wants to do this because they care so much about your mission. They put up the match and you advertise it to your donors and prospects and let them know that their gift, all gifts for end of year giving will be matched up to a certain level. So that could be 25,000 or 50,000 or more, however much that single donor or other donors that you're asking to be part of the match is willing to put up for the match. And it's a great way to promote how successful your organization is, because if these community leaders want to support you at that high level by offering this match, it's an extra impetus even beyond the additional money that you're going to have donated, because you get to be part of this. And
That's right.
it generates its own enthusiasm. It's in a way more compelling than doing the match through a company, because it
Agreed.
feels like I'm part of this club. I'm going to help this organization that I love get to the goal because I'm part of this match.
You're so right. I have a very personal, up close and personal experience with a situation like that. And the couple that is part of this yearly match, we're sort of conspiring. They feel like they're sort of conspiring to get us to this next level. It's the neatest thing. Now they've asked to be an anonymous match, which actually I've seen that quite a bit. But just to quickly tell you how that even evolved, this couple came forward and they'd never given to this organization before, and they wanted to give a gift of $25,000, and they said, we're going to make a significant gift, we'd like to wire the funds. And at the time I was functioning in the role of kind of a fractional development director, and so I called them and we had a fantastic conversation, and I said, well, let me run something by you. I mean, I realize that you've committed to this gift and the gift is coming anyway. But what if we were to leverage this? Well, they got so excited about this. So now every year they say, are we doing the match? Are we doing the match? We're so excited because it's a huge success. And the first year that we did it, they put up the 25. We raised the 25. And then another donor said, I'm just going to throw in another 25. So we ended up with 75 out of that one match. Amazing. But again, it was this feeling of being part of something special and something that could make a big impact.
My experience, one point in experience that I had was with a smaller nonprofit, and two of the board members came together and offered to do the match. And then because it was so successful, same thing, they wanted to do it again the following year. And by then, a lot of the significant donors knew about the match and knew how successful it had been the year before. So then the idea was, can we beat last year's match?
Even better.
Do it year after year, and every year the amount of money that they raised through the match was increased. The match itself increased, and the amount of money raised from the match kept going up and up and up. So last time I saw them, they were still doing it.
Fantastic. So I think, if we think about how to go about this, one of the ways, Annie mentioned approaching board members. Another way would be to approach a regular annual donor who is going to be making a gift, and just have a one-on-one conversation. Or if there's a prospect that you're getting a feeling like they really have an interest, they have an inclination to get more involved, to make perhaps a more substantial gift. So there's the direct approach. You could also just put it out there and say, we are hoping to have a gift match this year, and see if people come forward. But what I have found is approaching regular, steady donors. And the thing is, a match doesn't have to be 50,000, 100,000. I mean, those are wonderful. It could be 5,000, could be your regular $5,000 annual donor. So we're not saying that a match always has to be a huge amount. You'd be surprised how even if you start small, it will start to feed on itself, and year upon year, you have the potential for that to grow. So telling the story of how a match was incredibly successful the year prior, we'd love to repeat that this year. If you were to reach out to some of your donors that are regular, that's a good way to approach it. But the other thing is that you can create sort of a pool of matches as well. So if you have several people that are willing to put in 5,000, and now you've got your 25 and you want to match that 25, that's another approach. Any other suggestions on how to get started with the matching gift process, Annie?
Well, one of the things, and I know this may come up in other places in the presentation, is to make it really clear what this match will go toward. So if you're raising money for your annual fund, let's say, which is the usual end of the year appeal thing, use some compelling anecdotes to describe what you're hoping to achieve by reaching this goal. And that would be, what were the goals that you set for yourself this year? And how much money do you still need to get to those goals? And it could be that something special has come up within the last few months. So now you have an even bigger, newer reason to accommodate this matching idea. So what do you need to reach your annual fund goal? And has anything additional come up that you want to talk about that you could add to that annual fund goal?
That's right. Absolutely. And it could be an upcoming event. It could
Right.
be celebrating an anniversary of something. It could be the launch of a new program. It could be we received an award this year for something. But I agree with you, Annie. I like that when there's a hook, when there's something there that people feel like they're working towards. So giving them the opportunity to be part of the whatever program fund, give it a name for next year, really does get buy-in. So let's talk then about how we're going to communicate this, because this is a huge opportunity for you to be talking it up. You can, not only are we looking at just our general sending out our e-blast and our social media and our mailings, but we have Giving Tuesday coming up. That's a great opportunity to mention it as well. So really looking at ways that you can get creative so that you can talk about it a lot. What we want is for people to be aware and to remind them over and over about it. So having a banner on your website that says, click here for more information about our matching gift opportunity, or a ticker. I love the thermometer concept. I always think that's fun. So there's so many great software platforms that allow you to just put a widget on your website, or, create something that you can incorporate, shows you how far you've gotten, how close you are. The urgent call to action. I think also making sure that you're preparing the team, giving everyone what they need so they understand it, making sure everyone understands, first of all, what it is and what's involved. But then also give them a script, give your team members a script, give your board members a script, really make sure that everyone is talking about it. Everyone's really promoting it as much as possible. It's a really good opportunity. I know I mentioned this with Giving Tuesday in our last webinar, but having a reason to communicate with people gives it so much more substance, rather than just sending an email saying, please donate, please donate, please donate. We need your funds by end of year. So if you give them something to hook into and get excited about, you're likely to have better results.
Well, you're asking these people who have already demonstrated interest in you, or people that you have as prospect that you're pretty sure resonate with your mission. Doing a match gives you additional credibility. And depending on how you craft your messaging, you can make all those people out there feel like they get to be part of the club because they're part of the match. And being part of that club means that they're helping you reach some very important goals that are going to change your future and change the future of those that you're serving.
The one thing we didn't mention here is the communication with the match donor. So that is critical as well, because we want them to know we're working hard with what they gave us. We are doing everything in our power, and to keep them informed. They're not necessarily going to be looking at the social media and the mailings because they've already committed. So they're not saying, oh, well, as if they were a brand new donor, or as if they're looking at making their first gift for the year or their end of year gift. So we need to make sure that we stay in touch with them. I like to text or email or phone call. That's my favorite way. and you can just ask them, is it okay if I text you every so often with some updates, or can I drop you guys a line via email? I'd love to share updates on how it's going, but make them part of it, because that also gives them the incentive to include their network and talk it up about what they're involved in. So that's something else that I think is, we can't forget about. All right.
Well, all those donors and board members that are close to you are going to want to see you achieve this goal. So making them partners by saying, we only need to raise another $7,500 to reach our goal. Help us by reaching out to some of your friends who you think this mission would resonate with, and bring them on board with us. And they're more likely to do that if you keep telling them, we're this close, we're this close, because everybody wants to be the one who pushes you over the top.
That's right. That's right. 100%. Yep. Okay, so let's move into major donors, which we've been talking about that, but we're going to specifically talk about your major donors. Again, that's all relative. It depends on your organization, what a major donor is for you. But let's talk a little bit about what it means and what do we see in terms of statistics. So generally speaking, about half of nonprofits receive a majority of their annual revenue from major gifts in December alone. 31% of annual giving occurs in December, with 12% happening in the last 3 days of the year. I was just telling Annie before we started the call that one organization that we work with raises $75,000 between the 27th of December and the 31st of December every single year without fail. Why do they wait to the last minute? I don't know, but maybe it just gives them tremendous joy and satisfaction. Maybe they're so busy that that's when they think about actually making their giving for the year. But that's a really big number for, and this is about a $500,000 organization. So $75,000 is significant for them in those 3 days. 80% of major donors report being motivated to give when they know their contribution will help meet a specific year-end goal. To your point, Annie, that if they know they're part of something that has a specific goal, they're going to be more excited. They're going to want to contribute. So let's talk then about how we can really, oh, we have a double, did I go backwards or forwards? Maybe I went backwards. Let's see here. Yeah, I went backwards. Sorry about that. All right, so let's talk about major donor strategies. Annie, this happens to be your area of expertise. So I'd love you to talk us through this and give us your experience and your insight so that we can really leverage what we're doing in the last couple months of the year.
Because my background has been mostly in higher education, this is something that has been drilled into me since I very first started. And I find that a lot of small and medium-sized nonprofits don't go here. And it makes me so sad that it's something that you may be afraid of, but it can make such a difference to the future of your nonprofit, because 63% of all the philanthropy in the country is coming from individuals. So this is where you want to focus, because this is where you know most of the money is.
And so what is the barrier, Annie? Is it insecurity? Is it just feeling, is it worry about rejection? What is the reason that we don't see the smaller organizations tackling this more aggressively?
I think it's totally fear. They cannot imagine the words coming out of their mouth. Will you increase your $5,000 donation from last year by $1,000 this year? Or whatever you think is going to work. They can't imagine saying that. And I think part of the reason is, and this is sort of crazy, because you can't imagine giving that much yourself. You can't imagine asking somebody else to do it. But just think about the fact that that person's wallet is way fatter than yours. And then maybe that'll make you feel a little bit less fearful. But those previous large donors are the low-hanging fruit that are going to get you to your goal faster than anything. And they expect you to ask them. Yes, they expect you to ask them in a gracious way, but this is where you go. And once you start feeling comfortable doing that, you're going to be wanting to do a lot of celebrating because it'll really be so worthwhile to go there. You'll see.
So Annie, is this an in-person conversation? Is it in an appeal letter? Is it a customized appeal letter for the large donors? Give us a couple of scenarios so that
The
we
more
can really
personal
imagine.
what I would do is, does everybody know what a Libun and a Cybun is? Have you learned that from Kirsten already? A Libun is somebody who gave last year, but they have not given yet this year. A Cybun is somebody who's given some year, but they haven't given since that some year until now. And usually the Cybuns that I focus on are the ones who they didn't give this year, they didn't give last year, they gave the year before that. So you can decide whether you want to go back 3, 4, 5 years to look at those Cybons who are previous donors who have given fairly significantly that you want to go back and focus on again. So my way of managing this process has always been, okay, what do you consider a major gift to be? It's not the same for every organization. For your organization, it might be $5,000. For somebody else's organization, it might be $10,000. So think about that for a minute and then go and do a report and figure out who are those Libons and who are those Cybons. And then you're going to prioritize them. You will recognize a lot of names. You'll be able to see when their last gift was, and you can prioritize them. So you're prioritizing first all the Libons because they gave last year, and you're prioritizing them by how well do I know this person? How comfortable am I talking to them? And how much did they give last year? So let's say you divide them into 3 tiers, and then you kind of make a spreadsheet. What are you going to do first? Maybe you're going to send them your impact report. I don't know how many of you have an impact report, but you should have one. And if you don't have one, you're not going to scramble around now because you don't have a lot of time left in creating one. So come up with 3 things that you accomplished this year that are really, you think they're fabulous. They've changed lives. Use those 3 things and talk about them in a personal written communication to that individual, prioritizing your list and writing a little personal note at the bottom. Send that to the person, and then in that note you're going to tell them, I'm going to be calling you within the next week, or whatever's comfortable for you, but don't make the time span too long because you don't have a lot of time left. And then you call that person and say, because of the gift that you made last year, we were able to do X, Y, Z, as you saw in our impact report. And we are so grateful for that. And we want to let you know where we're headed for next year. And you can really help us get there if you decide to renew your gift. And you have a little conversation with them and you thank them profusely. They may not answer you and say, yes, I'm going to write the check right now. They might say, I need to think about it. I'll get back to you. But whatever they say, you're going to write them a thank you note and thank them for spending that time with you on the phone. And then multiple touches really help. So if you don't hear from them and it's getting close to December 15th, you want to be in touch with them one last time by an email or a phone call to say, we're this close to reaching our goal. You could be the one to put us over the top. So prioritizing who you think the money is going to come from, and then using that prioritized list for your contacts is the way to go. Now, you may be the only person in your organization who's raising money. It really shouldn't be like that. Your board members should be helping you. If you have fundraising volunteers, they should be helping you. But maybe what you do is say to your board members, this is our list of Libons. Who do you know on this list? Because I really need some help making contact. And hearing from a board member is very powerful. So I want every board member to at least do 1, 2, 3 of these calls. And we're going to follow up with you to make sure you did it. And you could even make it into a contest where if somebody gets a prize at the end, you're going to take them out to lunch or they're going to get something special if they are the one to get to the goal first. That kind of thing works. You want to make them feel like their inclusion is really important, and they do have an obligation as board members to participate in this.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
It's one of the principal board member obligations to fundraise, and this is the most important part of the year to do it.
Annie, you taught me that those appeal letters that are customized and tailored to donors could include language about the amount of their gift last year.
Aha,
And, right?
yes.
You taught me that. Okay,
That
explain
very
that.
much increases the likelihood that they're going to give and that they're going to give more than they did last time. You're saving them from going and looking up what they gave you last year, and you're suggesting to them what you would like them to give this year. And the research shows that that increases their likelihood of giving and also increases their likelihood of giving more than they did last time.
Mm-hmm. The other thing you taught me is to prepare the letters and have them segmented. If we know that there are people that maybe the board members are familiar with, great. So we put those aside. But if we have a batch of letters that are going out, bringing those to the next board meeting or having board members stop by the office and just write a little personalized note, right, on the letter. Even if it's just, even if it's not someone that they know, right, Annie? It makes a big difference to have a little personal note.
One other thing that I've seen nonprofits do, let's say that you have a child serving nonprofit. It might be too late for you to do this now, but this is a magical thing. If you get some of those kids that you serve to just write one sentence on a card that you're sending them to say thank you as part, it's attached to your appeal, but it's a little note from a kid that says, thank you so much. You helped me read, or whatever it is that you're doing that's improving that child's life. The donors really love that. And they may even call you and thank you for it because it's that extra step that shows them that their past giving has made a difference.
Annie, we talked a little bit about the impact report. So we have some Canva whizzes in our audience.
Oh, great.
I know that for a fact. I already saw a couple of people that I know use Canva faithfully and are masters at it. It is not that hard for you to even put together a one pager with your top 3, 4, 5 great things that took place over the year that you're really proud of, or accomplishments or statistics. Oh my goodness, if you can give some data on improvements or numbers of people served. So think about that too. You could potentially put something together and be able to include that if you wanted.
Even a one pager would be great. The other thing that really, really works is including a picture of people that served or animals that recovered from parvo because of you. Those kinds of things are very motivating for donors. So just think about that. Your impact report, as Kirsten suggests, could just be a page of your
it doesn't have to be
points. Yeah.
And then the other thing is, I know a lot of you still have events coming up. There are still things happening, even if it's not a big gala. You may still have smallish events, opportunities where you're interacting with donors. So make sure that you are taking advantage of every possibility, every event, maybe, when we talked about Giving Tuesday, we talked about a virtual open house. We talked about a 1-hour live stream of something to share something exciting that's happened on Giving Tuesday at 6 p.m. Make sure that you're inviting these major donors, because if nothing else, it opens the door for a conversation. So if you feel a little awkward about calling them, that's your excuse. You have an opportunity to just start the conversation, even if you have to leave a voicemail message. In fact, sometimes it's even better if you leave a voicemail message because they have a chance to digest it and they can get back to you. You're not catching them off guard in the middle of something. So make sure that you're taking advantage of that as well. Okay, what about donor giving levels, clubs, circles, societies? What are your thoughts on that, Annie?
Well, you may not agree with this, but I don't know how successful those still are. They used to be a really big deal some years ago. I don't think they're as big a deal as they were years ago. I think it depends probably on how established your nonprofit is and how long those giving clubs or circles have been in place, so that people feel like, oh, I want to be part of that circle because my friend Joan is part of it, and these people in the community that I want to get close to are part of it. There has to be some motivating reason to get them to join it. And it's not going to be that you send them a goodie in the mail.
Well, you know what I've seen work is having this exclusivity. Again, it's back to the exclusivity, but if they have an opportunity to meet with the president of the organization or the CEO of the organization on a quarterly Zoom call to get updates or to be part of next year's focus group to share ideas and brainstorm about the strategies for the program or to give feedback, but finding a way that they get to be part again of sort of the inner circle of things that are happening so that they feel invested, they feel excited, they feel like they're part of something special. So think about your organization and is there something that you could offer them that you wouldn't necessarily offer to the general public that gives them a little bit of a feeling of, wanting to be part of this particular club, circle, society, whatever you want to call it. I agree with you. It's a bit outdated, but what I have seen is early release of data, conversations. For example, if a particular report comes out on, statistics regarding mental health, having a discussion with the lead psychologist on your team before the research is released or before we publish our white paper next month. We'd love to have you join our call so that you can hear from Dr. Smith firsthand about what's happening or about the developments in mental health or about the new programs that are coming out. So you can find ways if you really kind of think about what's happening in your organization and developments that are coming, maybe you can find a way to give people this exclusive insider view. It's an idea.
That exclusivity is really important because people respond to that. They want to feel like their high-end gift has made them special. And let's say that somewhere in your circle of influence, you have a celebrity. So you could have a little champagne reception at one of your board members' homes, and that celebrity is going to be there, and everybody gets to shake their hand. Little things like that go a long way because then they can tell their friends, well, you won't believe who I met. And I was one of only 25 people that got to meet this person. Those kinds of things do resonate with a lot of donors.
Agreed. So if we think about last minute fundraising opportunities, let's talk through your philosophy, Annie, on dates, on timing, on what that all could look like so that we don't miss out on anything, but that we're also realistic about what we can do between now and December 31st.
Well, when you think about everything that we talked about already tonight, really look at the options and say, where are my biggest chances to raise the most money? And put together your plan based on that. So you have the highest priorities, things that you're going to focus on with the most time, and make yourself a calendar. And you're not going to be doing this all by yourself. Hopefully there are other people in your organization, board members, volunteers, other staff members who are going to help you with this. Everybody has their assignments, and you're following up and you're including what you've accomplished and what the next step is going to be in every case.
Mhm.
So my thing, of course, as I've already said, is I would focus on those Libunts and Cybunts big time, and then look at the other opportunities, going down to who are my high level prospects that haven't given yet, but because I have such a great message to share with them, maybe they'll make their first gift before the end of the year.
Mhm.
Maybe I could join with a board member who tells that person why they give to this organization and why it's important to them, and joins you in asking them to be part of it.
Mhm.
Think of how you can make the biggest impact before December 15th. Because somehow December 15th is a sort of cutoff where after December 15th, people are so involved in the holiday business that the urgency of what you're asking them lessens significantly. So you
Mhm.
want to try to make that calendar of things that you're going to do end on December 15th, or as close to that as you can get it.
What I would add to that as well is if you are very active on social media, you have beyond December 15th to continue your efforts. But ideally, you want all of that scheduled ahead of time as much
Right.
as you possibly can. And don't rule out the text to give. Give Butter has such a wonderful platform that's free. They only charge a percentage of donations, just like everyone does. And you can easily throw together. I mean, I can do it. So anyone can do it. You go on Give Butter, you set up an account, you say, my word is going to be heart. So I'm going to put on social media text heart, the word heart to 53555. And because what we're looking for also is multi-channel, every channel that you can possibly be working. So maybe for you, your area of focus is going to be the major donors, the emails and the letters, 1,000%, the personal touch. But surely there's someone on your team who can help you with the social media piece and be posting and talk about where you are in your fundraising progress, how close you are to the match, and then use a tool like the text to give, because a lot of people really, really like that. It's very easy. They can do it from their phones. And honestly, it's kind of the convenience. It's a convenience factor too.
Well, that's
So
a great
pull that
thing
out.
to use as you get towards the end of the year and you have that magical 3 days left where you could raise an additional 12%. You have
Exactly.
text to give. We only need
Yes,
this much more to reach our goal. Text right
exactly.
now.
That's right. That's right. So there's that urgency. Yep. And then of course the tax deductibility, which we talk about. And by the way, I get a lot of questions about when that check goes in the mail, when it gets received. So make sure that you're clear on when the check was dated or when the wire was sent in terms of regulations, and making sure that you're meeting IRS compliance in terms of those gifts coming in before the end of the year itself. Generally speaking, if it's a check and it's postmarked by December 31st, it counts towards
That's right.
that year. Yes. So even if you receive it the 3rd of January, it will count. Okay, so then let's not forget about the fact that people can give via stock, donor advised funds, ACH, Zelle. I mean, I would list them. Tell people, don't forget, these are ways that you can give. And we've said this before, don't be intimidated if someone says, I'd like to make a gift of stock. You say, great, give me a day, I'll get back to you with the information. And you go to your bank and you set up an account, so that a brokerage account, so that you can receive gifts of stock. It is really not very hard at all. And we don't want to discourage people. So just say, absolutely, let me get with our financial person and I'll get you that information. So
another really big thing while we're talking about stocks is that encouraging people to give from their IRA distribution is very hot right now. So don't forget to bring that up, because a lot of people do have a distribution, and it kind of feels like found money. And so encouraging them to give you a piece of their distribution is a great point to make, because they may not even think about that at all.
Absolutely. So Annie, when we think about what are the compelling pieces to all of this, just we're thinking about the impact stories, we're talking about what's coming up next year. Are there other things that we could be mentioning that will get people excited and resonate with them? Is there anything that you can think of?
Well, part of it, I think that's really important, is focusing on what you're going to do next, because that money that that person is giving is likely to be something that is going to impact your goal in the coming year. So what are your goals? What do you intend to do that's really compelling that you can share with that person and say, your gift is going to help us do X, Y, Z, and be specific about that. You're going to feed more children with your gift. I don't mean that. I mean very specific articulation of what it is that their gift is going to contribute toward. And then don't forget, when you're thanking these people that have given you those end of year gifts, that you're going to make the thank you note not a general thank you note, but it's going to be very compelling, because you're going to remind them that they helped you reach the goal that will allow you to achieve the special program that you've added to your portfolio, and what that special program is going to do. So they feel special, and now they're an insider.
And those thank yous, those are rolling, right? We are not waiting for any particular date to send out. These are ongoing thank yous. These are ongoing communications. Even if your campaign is, you haven't reached your goal, you are thanking as you go along.
Well, the other thing that you can do, and this makes a huge difference, is if you have some board members or volunteers or even your staff that can, if some extraordinary gifts come in, or really just some nice gifts come in, have somebody call that person and say, oh my gosh, we got your gift yesterday, and I just wanted to call you and say thank you so much. You don't believe how much difference this is going to make in our achieving our goal to do blah, blah, blah. And you may have to leave a voicemail and move on to the next person. But that's okay, because I can tell you that that donor is going to be so shocked that a board member or a staff member immediately got on the phone to call them and leave a message and say thank you. That doesn't happen all the time. It hardly ever happens. So you can really stand out by going to that extra step. And it's something that makes your board members or your volunteers feel really good.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's something that has come up a lot. So when you're saying your support will help us with X, talk about the difference between supporting a specific campaign or providing general support that is going to be focused on these areas that we're working on next year. Because we hear a lot from nonprofits that say, yeah, that was great. We did the campaign to support this particular program, but now all our funds are tied up in that because that's what the donors gave to, and we don't have general operating funds. So how do we deal with that conundrum of being very careful and delicate about this line between saying your funds are going to go to this versus, which could be in a broader bucket, versus support this particular campaign? Because we want to be truthful always, right? And we want to make sure we honor the restrictions of the gifts.
Well, for the end of the year appeal, the more you can craft your message so it makes the donor feel special that they're giving to operating support, the better off you are. And there's a way to do that. You can look at your strategic plan, or you can look at your impact report and say, this is what your gift is going to help us do. Right. Go to the next step with our impact. This is our 5-year strategic plan. You're now part of our cadre of pals that is helping us get to those strategic planning goals.
I love that. So my word of caution is on specific campaigns. So just be very careful. If you're setting something up in Give Butter and you're saying text heart to 53555 to support our campaign for something specific, that's now going to be restricted funds. I mean, that donor thinks they are giving to one specific campaign. So just be very careful in your language and make sure that you're comfortable that what you're asking for is support of these goals within our broader mission, as opposed to we need your help to raise $250,000 to provide food for this particular region in Palm Beach County. So just be very, very careful, because you do not want to have these buckets of funds that you then cannot, now you have money in a program fund and you're stuck without operating funds. We all know how important it is to have enough to keep the lights on and keep your administrative backbone healthy. So, okay. And then video testimonials. I love video testimonials. I don't think we do them enough. I think they are priceless. They are such an up close and personal way to convey your message. So just be thinking, and these are not for, you can do it, just film a clip on your iPhone. Just, really anything that is going to be personalized is going to make a huge, huge difference. So if you're sending out emails, embed a clip in there, link it out to YouTube, just find a way to really make it exciting and compelling. All right, so we did a broad strokes on matching gifts, major donors, and then what are some of the last minute tips. We really wanted to dig into questions. Do we have questions already, Tanaka, in the chat? Do you know?
Yes, we do.
Great.
Karen had asked, should we be sending our impact report in the mail or via email?
Good question. Well, a lot of people don't, sometimes, a lot of people aren't giving their mailing addresses these days if they're making an online gift, because they're not required to. So you may not even have a choice. You may look through your list and realize that you don't even have mailing addresses for a lot of these people. But my suggestion would be to look at your list and figure out a cutoff point. What's reasonable? What can you handle cost-wise? What can you handle? If you're doing it yourself and you're stuffing these, how many can you do before the end of year, realistically, right? If you're hiring a mailing house to do it for you, it might be a little bit of a different story. But I think it's being realistic. I would always go for mailed if it's an option, but I don't think there's any harm in doing a backup via email, because sometimes people don't get it. Sometimes they just toss it in the trash. They don't know what it is. Anne has some tips on things that are getting mailed. So
this is such an old-fashioned tip, but it still works. And it's a way that you can involve your volunteers and your board members and your staff in doing something that allows them to come together and have a conversation. Have them address those envelopes by hand and put a live stamp on the envelope, because the open rate for those things that are hand addressed is huge compared to something that looks like it was sent electronically. Huge. There's almost a guarantee that they're going to open it because they're curious about it, since you took the time to handwrite the envelope and put a nice, maybe holiday-ish stamp on there. It does make a big difference.
Agreed. And again, don't forget that you could select your top 20.
Yes.
Those are the ones you hand write the envelope. It doesn't have to be all of them. Maybe you run the other ones through the printer, but you pick out the ones that you feel are important, if that's what you can handle. So just, be selective, but I would say put your all into this. And, sometimes I start addressing envelopes weeks and weeks and weeks in advance, because I've already got the addresses. Maybe we haven't quite finished up the letter. Maybe we haven't. That's fine. I sit there. Maybe I put something on the TV and I just start handwriting envelopes. But if you can get some help, that's wonderful. Don't forget to stay, if you can stay till the end, because I do want to tell you about the bonus that I have for you. But the handwriting is a big deal. The stamp is a big deal. I know we get nonprofit discount for postage. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of anything that looks like it was generated by a computer or went through a machine. I like a stamp. I will say Anne taught me that as well. So I vote for stamp and hand addressed if you can. And again, if you need to just be selective and it's 20 or 30, that's fine. If you can get other people to help you, that's great. It almost doesn't even matter. I know everyone's thinking about my handwriting isn't great. It actually doesn't matter. People don't care. It's just the fact that it
As
was
long as you can read it, you're okay.
as long as you can read it. Exactly. Exactly. Does that answer your question, Karen? All right, great. Okay. Do we have any other questions?
Yeah, we got one from
Go ahead, Tanaka.
we got one from Dave. He said, how would you communicate? Oh, is somebody talking? Let's see. Okay. He said, how would you communicate if you reach your goal before the end of the year and you still want to raise more? Do you stay silent on reaching the goal until the end of the year?
Good question. I know Anne has an
love the idea of telling everybody that you got to the goal, but now, because you've gotten to the goal, you have the opportunity to do X. What is that thing that you dreamed of doing, but you said, oh my God, there's no way that we're ever going to be able to talk about this because we have to take care of our real needs first. Now you have a chance to announce. That is so exciting. People love that. And it makes their investment in your organization stronger to know that you are powerful enough to get there. And some people will make a second or third gift when you send them a message like that to say, we got to our goal and now we can do this special thing that we've been dreaming of doing for 3 years. And you can help us. And you may get another gift from people that you never expect to give. Because 20.9% of people will give a second gift.
if asked. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I love
But you have
that.
to ask them.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Dave. The other thing is when you're creating your budget, I always encourage, or if you're doing your strategic planning, yes, we're going to have our goals and our budget, but let's also have the wish list. Always be thinking about what we could be doing. And so maybe it's not relevant right now and you say, we're going to park that for the moment, but have that so that, you know, bring that into your conversations. If you're having a board retreat, if you're doing strategic planning, you know, let's not only be limited by what we think we can achieve and what's realistic, but what if we were to raise an extra $200,000? What could we do with that? What would we do with that? Because you actually have a responsibility to be thinking about where that money would go. And it may be to start an endowment. Great. Maybe that's a secondary big dream, big goal that you have, because that is going to eventually provide you with a sustaining income from the interest that's going to keep the operation going. So just be thinking about what that wish goal could look like, that ambitious goal, that you know, sort of very audacious, big thinking goal, where we're not bound by what we know we raised last year, what we think we could raise, what grants we know are coming in, but let's also have that as a backup plan. So I love that, Annie. Great, great answer. Thank you. Other questions?
Eduardo, I know you had a question, but do you mind just asking the group?
Who was that?
Eduardo.
Eduardo.
Yes.
Oh, you want me to ask the question?
Yes,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
okay, surely. In my case, we don't have anyone, any funder or any company in mind to reach out to. We've never done this before, and I'm trying to recall what was my question to you guys. Let's see if I.
Yeah, no, you're on mute
Oh,
now.
I'm sorry.
That was your question. Just, you
Where
know,
to
what if
start?
we don't have any organizations
Oh,
or
I
any
see. I see it now. What if we don't have any organization to reach out to, as we've never encountered any donor, large or small, in the past? What ought to be the correct approach? We don't know how to start to request funds.
And you're saying this because you're a membership organization, right? So you're a
Correct.
membership organization that has never really started this process of cultivation, research cultivation, and then kind of solicitation of donors. So what would be your advice there, Anne? Where do you start if you're starting from really
You
just
have
a membership base? Oh, did we lose you? No, we can hear you, Annie.
I said, how many members do you already have?
About 25, 26 members.
Are they members at different levels or are they all members at the same level?
All members, the board, we have probably 7 board members.
No, beyond your board members, though, you said you have members of your organization. Are they
Yes,
members because they gave you a gift?
yeah, they became members by donating $150 each member for the year.
You're in a really good place because you don't have a ton of members yet. So you actually could be in touch with each one of those members, thank them for being members, and tell them what your goals are, and ask them if they would give you names of people, and that could even just be from scrolling through their phones. Give me names of as many people as you can who for whom our mission may resonate. Just send me their contact info. And this is a way that you can really help this organization that you become a member of grow. So then you're beginning to develop your mailing list, and you're doing it in a way that's much more effective than if you went out and bought a mailing list, because you're doing it with people who know who in their circle of influence is likely to be interested in what you're doing.
Mhm.
And then that builds that member's investment in you. And it also gives you a great list of new people to go after.
Thank you so much. Excellent, excellent response. Appreciate it. Thank you, Annie.
I want to mention the How Foundation's question about the match. I know she had to hop off, but I'll get back with her separately and let her know the answer. But does a match notification belong in the annual appeal letter, or should the annual appeal be a more open letter for donations? Another great question.
I would always put the match information or a match reminder. Check with your employer to see if they have a matching gift program. I would always have that. I would have it on the website. I would put it in social media at this time of year so that everybody who sees information about your nonprofit knows that you're pushing a matching gift program. Because a lot of them may work for a company, whether it's a Fortune 500 company or not, that has a matching gift program. So my idea would be to include that every place you can.
So that's for the employer match. What about if it's a match by a donor? It's a matching gift. So we have a donor who has stepped up.
Absolutely. That's going to
Include
be
it in the annual appeal.
paragraph in your end of year appeal. It's talking about that match. They believe in us so much and they're so behind our goals. They've generated this match so that you can join them in these important goals.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Karen had another question. There are contacts that I have that I want to let know that I'm at a new organization. Is this the best time to reach out, or would it be better in the new year?
It's still a good time to reach out. I would definitely do it. I would definitely,
Agreed.
if you have the time to do it now, I would definitely do it.
Agreed. Agreed. Excellent. Okay, so what we're going to do before everyone has to leave, because I know a lot of people really just have about an hour, I wanted to offer you something special. First of all, we'll continue with questions in a moment, but don't forget that we have our templates, our ebooks, we've got our recordings. Everything is available for free on our website. You just need to give us your email, and really the email so that we can let you know when we're having webinars and when we have things coming up. We're not going to pitch you or sell you anything. I don't want to keep you all any longer unless you have questions. I'm sticking around for a few more minutes. So if we have any other questions, happy to chat. But otherwise, thank you all so very much. and have a wonderful evening and best of luck with everything. And hopefully we'll see you on the 20th. If we don't, that's great too. That means that you've got it all in hand and you've got it figured out, and that's wonderful.